ding this time. Damn, oh shit. Okay, it's off. Alright, we're good. We're back with some more Last of Us. And we are going to change the... We're going to change it to yellow. Because I think yellow would be better as a thing. So, yeah. And otherwise, we're all good here. Got that on. Okay. We always want to make sure we got the good stuff on. And, yeah. Alright, cool. And then we got this, and this. Alright, good. Alright, last time we left off, we're going with Tommy now. So we're going to be doing sniping. And then we'll be back with Ellie going to the hospital next. Wedding date will be next, 10/8/08/83. So. All right, here we go. This is one thing I didn't do last time when I did it, so yeah.
Okay, let's go.
All right, here we go. This is one thing we never read last time. I feel like Dana's avoiding me. Kat says she's jealous, just jealous about how I'm spending my time. I keep trying to invite Dana along, but she keeps saying she's busy. Preaching and outreading and something. I trace a link on your skin, and that covers the scars, burns through darkness. I've just had the worst, best day of my life. Kat was finishing another session on my arm and then climbed on top of me and kissed me. I threw her off of me. I yelled at her. I thought I'd infected her. I mean, I'm infected, sort of. I don't know how the fuck this shit transfers. What if she turns? What if I tell people she's got family? I told her we should take a walk. I lied and said I've never kissed anyone and that I was just nervous. She was actually sweet about my freak out. We spent the day walking and talking. Then she came to my place for a movie. She fell asleep. I stayed up all night watching her, looking for signs of infection. The next morning she was fine, nothing. I'm not contagious. And Kat likes me what a fucking roller coaster. Kat's the fucking best. That is all. So, on patrol today, Jesse told me Kat referred to me as her girlfriend. She's so open about everything. She talks to her mom about us. She held my hand when we were all out at the lake, kissed me in front of our friends. Everyone seems to know except for Joel. Should I tell him? I don't know. I don't know. What's I don't know. How would he react? Yeah, that would tell you something. I mean, I don't know who Kat is, but it looks like this girl Kat actually liked Ellie, but she actually likes Dana, so yeah.
Let's try.
How many?
Just a handful.
I don't know how he would react.
You want to give it a whirl?
Yeah, sure. Hold on. Sure. Sure. Yeah, sure. Why not? All right.
Seriously, red one. Try it. Good way to draw them out around here. There you go.
Sounds attractive.
Long patrol. It's clear. There you go.
Shit.
Make sure to compensate for the bullet drop. That's all of them. Usually more of this way than we keep shooting.
Okay. Where are they coming from?
Hordes like to move through this area. They always end up leaving behind a few stragglers.
They do the same routes every year.
Like a migration or something.
What's that about?
Well, when the barometric pressure is certain temperatures, shit, I don't fucking know. Check out the shit. Looks like we're moving downhill. Look up by the truck there. Munching on that deer.
Gotcha. I like this thing.
Spotting twos.
Sweden's top virus expert, no Boykin wearing a face mask.
What?
Sweden's top epidemiologist says that with his nation's coronavirus numbers declining significantly, he sees little value in the use of face masks.
Yes.
That Sweden has come down to these levels is very promising, said Anders Tegnell in a report by Fortune. Tegnell has stated that Sweden's decision not to do a full lockdown was the better choice since the virus could be around for years and shutting down society. So masks don't do a damn thing.
No rush. Well done. I'm not seeing you.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
All right. Let's head in. See if Joel's back.
Sure.
And her over.
Hey, thanks for this. It's just what I expected.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ladies first.
First.
I'm not supposed to say that. But Joel's worried about you.
There's nothing to worry
Worry
about.
about.
Well, I'm sure there is. But if you don't talk to him, he's going to think something's wrong.
I talked to him.
Well, you have to do more than hi and bye.
Okay, I will try.
Eddie.
That was y'all shooting up there, right?
Oh, just subtract.
Just.
Ellie got to try out my skills.
How'd you like it?
Yeah, that's good.
I see you've, haven't gotten another chance in the strings.
I didn't know I was supposed to.
Yeah.
You gotta change the strings.
Well, there's a music store down there. I bet they got guitar stuff. I mean, that area's long overdue for a sweet thing. I can keep watch.
Wait a second.
Okay.
Sure.
And that's our kid.
You sure you don't want to come?
Get on now. He's waiting.
Yep, I know. I was gonna get stuff. Oh, hello. Let's go over here.
Let's look out.
I'm just making sure I have everything. Yeah, it sounds beautiful.
Okay. Got everything new.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm coming. Give me a second, alright? Jeez.
Hey, what's this Savage Starlight doing here?
Pretty sure that's Joe's.
Alright, let's go. Wait. Yeah. Alright, let's go.
Okay. Let's go.
So, you and Tommy cross anything and made out?
Just the few we saw from the ridge. You?
You know, found two runners in their house. Jesse tells me you're handling your own quite well on the group patrols. He even recommended you for heritage patrols. I think you're still a bit young.
I'm a better
Better shot than all of them.
And I have more experience than most of the new recruits.
You think you're ready?
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks.
Just do me a favor and start with the shorter route.
Hold on a sec, people. Alright, we're gonna start the. We're gonna have the thing charged while we do this. I don't think I really started it yesterday or something.
Alright.
Hey, remember Savage Starlight the year in June?
Yeah?
Yeah?
Tommy and I found some when we were moving through that school the other day.
You like them?
Oh, alright. Not really my cup of tea, but Dr. Danielle Starr meets me.
It's funny now. Ellie's into these cards now, you know,
Yeah.
superhero
I
cards.
mean, he definitely deserved it, but
And unfortunately, I missed some of them, so I'll have to do it in my second playthrough because, well, this is my first playthrough on this profile. So, and unfortunately, there were certain places I wouldn't even have known they were there, you know.
Music store's up that way. We'll have to leave the horses here.
sounds good. Shit. Trouble.
Well, at least we know.
The music store.
Yeah, I see it.
Need a boost?
I got it. I don't think we can go this way.
What? Wait a minute.
Okay, so now what?
Well, if you're up for it, we'll try to track you out to town.
I'm up for it.
Man found dead in car in Hackensack River. Holy crap.
You jealous?
Hackensack River. How the hell he wound up in there?
I don't know. Riverdale.
Damn it.
Of course, I can't look at it. 'Cause it's
Oh, yeah.
record.
Yeah.
You think you can
Unless
fit
you're
it
a
there?
subscriber, you can't look at it. You don't even see the headlines.
Careful.
Through! Hold on!
All right. See anything?
Looking.
Bergen County had a lot of power outages.
Oh.
Look at this. May take several days for service to be totally restored.
Well,
Oakland got hit hard. Kittleton, Butler, Mountain Lake,
Oh,
Parsippany,
you impressed?
Nope. You're just as
Falls,
good. You ain't one.
Bergenfield was chaotic. Wow.
well,
No wonder Tenafly is messed up. Because Bergenfield is right near, next to Tenafly.
I think I see way through those gun spores. But you might as well go.
no.
It's just us. Okay, fine.
You gotta be smart about this. You stop wearing that mask, kiddo, and eventually you're gonna slip under from the sun. You should.
Never slipped.
You ain't doing that way, dude. Have you? Jesse, you do that. Okay, good.
Okay, let's go.
You been here before?
Control the streets. Feel like a bit of an oversight now.
Maybe.
Ruby, I'm sorry if our patrol overwhelmed you yesterday. We don't run into new people too often. I understand why you might been nervous to follow us to Jackson, but it really is a nice place. We've gotten electricity, good crops. Could be something special for you and your family. My boys are different people here. Before Jackson, we were so focused on just staying alive, I didn't like who they were becoming. I started acting like the people we were, running away from these days. They are not roofs fixing holes, digging trenches, hard work, but they come home every night exact about building up this place. They've gotten a community, a reason to be quotable. You used to be a teacher. You could have a classroom of kids hungry for knowledge. This isn't a fantasy. Please consider just stopping by. Let me show you around, Tara. Well, that didn't work, did it? Yeah, let me just check over here now real quick. Thank you. And there's a bell. Okay. Thank you. More stuff. This is stuff, people, you could miss if you don't check everywhere, you know. Okay. There's one more room I gotta check, Joel. Okay. And there we go. Alright, we're good. But to be on the safe side, aha. Oh, it's that, okay. Alright, we can go in now. Alright, Joel. Okay, that's empty. There you go. Where'd you go?
This way.
Yep, I'm coming.
Come here. Okay.
Our capacity for self-government, or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. But I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers. Not too long ago, two friends of mine were talking to a Cuban refugee, a businessman who had escaped from Castro. And in the midst of his story, one of my friends turned to the other and said, "We don't know how lucky we are." The Cuban stopped and said, "How lucky you are. I had some place to escape to." In that sentence, he told us the entire story. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. And this idea that government is beholden to the people, that it has no other source of power except the sovereign people, is still the newest and the most unique idea in all the long history of man's relation to man. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down. Man's old age dream, the ultimate in individual freedom consistent with law and order, or down to the anti-totalitarians. And regardless of their sincerity, their humanitarian motives, those who would trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course. In this vote harvesting time, they use terms like the Great Society, or as we were told a few days ago by the President, we must accept a greater government activity in the abuse of the people. But they've been a little more explicit in the past, and among themselves, and all of the things I now will quote have appeared in print. These are not Republican accusations. For example, they have voices that say the Cold War will end through our acceptance of a not undemocratic socialism.
Hold on.
Another voice says the profit motive has become outmoded. It must be replaced.
Oh, that's okay.
Who is it?
Oh, I didn't notice yet. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
A call from church.
Right.
Another call from church today, meeting from church. And so I figured let me try because I haven't heard back just to see.
Right.
So how is everything going for you guys?
Yeah, we're good.
We're hanging in there.
Hanging in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are things at the house? How have you been adapting with your mom not being there? How's all of that going?
Well, we're coping with it.
Coping, you know.
Doing the best we can. I mean, there are moments when you have memories about different things.
Yeah, or you think about them.
What can you do? I mean,
Yeah.
And, well, we did have the storm, and I had a few branches come down, but thankfully...
Well, like she said, they had no
damage to the house.
Yeah.
And, but some places had loss of power, but we were lucky. We had about 4 glitches, but it came back right on again.
Yeah.
The others won't have power till Sunday.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Yeah, we, I mean, obviously it was a fast-moving storm. Here, it's, like I was saying, the power goes out, like it's not unusual to see that. It's not unusual at all. Thankfully, since we've been in this house, this was, I mean, we had like little flickers, but we only had another power outage, which was actually just about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I don't even remember why that was. I think it was regular rain, and then it went off. But that wasn't too long, I think. I don't know that was more than...
Well, it's funny, my father said today, we always notice that it seems like all the power goes out other places except Union City. You never hear anything about you, but you hear Hoboken has floods, and these other places,
Pretty safe. When we were there, when we were there, I think we had a power outage once, maybe.
Oh, really?
A couple of times.
Oh, wow.
But it was nothing that happened often.
Right.
You don't really have flooding because it's high up.
Well, when we lived on Burger Line Avenue a long while, all those years ago, we had a power failure once in 24th Street.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why it was, but it was scary. The lights just went out, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, Mom, what do I do?
How are you doing?
We probably had a few. I don't, but it was in nothing that I remember greatly. I think there was one winter when there was 1 outage that lasted a little longer.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it was then. Maybe that winter, yeah.
It was nothing that was often or anything like that. Whereas here, it's known that in this town, I don't know if it's the way they have done probably the way they have done the wiring and how it goes with, since it's like kind of more country-like and all that. Because it's not in all other towns necessarily. But here, it is, it does, since it was here, so the first apartment we were at, and that was for about, we ended up living living there for about a year.
Right.
Well, just a little over a year.
Right.
The power went out there, I think, a couple of times. Again, didn't end up having a problem.
Right.
It went out a couple of times. That year, there were other people that had the power out for like 4 days.
Oh, wow.
And it was a winter storm, and and so we had it. I don't remember how long it was. It was not bad, but like I said, that was a pretty bad one. Some people were out for like 4 days,
Right.
3 to 4 days. And then in the other apartment where we lived, which is kind of it's more a house in a different area, that one gets more lucky because that one is right by the center of town.
Right.
So it's in that circuit, so they don't get many power outages. We're very close to the center of town now too, but we're not as close as that. That house is immediately next. It's like the first house on one of the sides of the center of town.
Right.
So we didn't get as many there. We still got but very short ones, maybe 1 or 2. And here we had not had any. Like I said, they had flickered but not gone off. And now we did have that one, and now this one, which lasted longer, because that was from about 5:30 in the afternoon through almost noon the next day.
Wow.
So we were really fortunate that one of the people I was working with.
Right. You said that, yeah.
Friends gave us that generator, so
Right.
so the fridge was saved.
Right.
The food was saved, so that was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you don't want to lose electricity.
No, not for a long rate of time, anyway.
No, we have huge trees here, all surrounding everywhere.
Wow.
And so, we're always, I'm always thinking, I hope, we need to have them checked probably.
Right.
To check them from time to time. To
Right, I would,
health
yeah.
And all of that, because you don't want to have an issue and then any of these trees would fall.
Right.
If we go through the house.
Oh, wow.
They're extremely tall.
Wow.
And they're old trees, very, very tall. So we should have that done. There's one that's definitely about shape, but it's not close to the house enough that it would be a problem for the house. It's all the way back.
Right.
Or back enough, whatever. But yeah, with storms and stuff, you do get branches. This one though, the interesting thing is that it really was not a bad storm at all.
Right, yeah.
We had some wind, but it was not horrendous wind.
Right.
By any means. And the rain, I think, was less than a couple of hours. And it was bright enough. It was a little tiny bit of wind and bright enough that we opened the curtains in the family room and sat there and played a couple of the kids, Sophia played with me and Alda played with one of the boys or something, and then with the other. We were playing cards and stuff.
Right.
Just with the outside light. It really was not
dark, completely dark, yeah.
So when the electricity went off, we were able to play and stuff for a while. But there was nothing going on outside. So I don't know. It was very strange, but anyway, we survived that.
I think he wanted to ask you a question there.
You live in Chelmsford, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chelmsford.
I had a cousin that used to live up there. I don't know if they still do, though. We had
Who was
family
that?
up there. That was Uncle Dick, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
Years ago. They lived in Chelmsford. I remember that name. Where's Chelmsford? How far is Chelmsford from a major city?
So the way things work here is you have all throughout Massachusetts, you would have these hubs where people would move to, and that would become like the town. And then it would spread out kind of like a spider web out from the center. So there's no downtowns here. That was a shock to me because I lived in Boston before, and I had, I used to take the bus to Lexington to teach, but I didn't go to anywhere else in Massachusetts. So I kept looking for something that looked like a downtown.
Right.
They just kind of don't exist in those places.
Oh,
some of the coastal towns have a little more or something like that.
Right.
But out here, the rest of the state, it doesn't. You literally have a center of the town, and then all these roads came out of it where you would have the cow pastures going out to the different farms and stuff.
Right.
And everything stayed that way. So the roads are that way, which is why traffic is horrendous, because they're not made for people. They're made literally for cow paths. So they go out, kind of like a spider web. They go out onto the sides. They're not all connected like a spider web, though. They just kind of go out like a star. And then what would happen is when the towns grew a little too much, then you would have someone who would kind of start a suburb per se, although it's a lot more country in general. And it might have been to the north or to the south of that. You would just kind of have a new little community that kind of started settling there to be more quiet, to be more open air, and not to be kind of in that center hub. And that would become a town. So all of Massachusetts, you have this center hub, which is kind of the larger town, and then you have all the towns that are literally just around it, like a star.
Okay.
So the one that Chelmsford came out of was Lowell. So
Oh,
Lowell's
okay.
it's the major city, but again, they're not cities like New Jersey cities.
Right.
they're kind of in between a town and a city, you know, not from our New Jersey mindset.
Yeah, right.
So the city would be, that's Lowell. So
Okay.
Lowell is right, you know, by us, and that's kind of where Chelmsford came out of. And just like Chelmsford, you have in all these other towns that are kind of in that hub of Lowell.
Okay.
You know, and then Boston, of course, is one that kind of spreads just one way because of the coast. And then you have south of us, you have Worcester, which is kind of another main hub, which is about 45 minutes away from Chelmsford. And then you have all the towns around it. You know, it kind of works like that. I wouldn't be able to tell you all the other ones, but we're closer to the Lowell, which is actually very, very close to New Hampshire.
Oh, before.
So we're actually closer to New Hampshire, to a couple of towns in New Hampshire, more than we are to most of Massachusetts, you know, most of other towns.
Before
we're
I
just about
forget,
15 minutes away from Nashville,
before I forget,
which is in New Hampshire.
I want to say thank you for that card, for your sympathy card.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
In fact,
yeah,
I want to send you some obituary cards.
Oh, that would be great.
How many would you
I'm
want?
glad that you were able to have something.
How many would you want?
I think, well, I don't know what you did exactly, whatever you feel.
All right, well, I mean, do you want 2, 3? I don't know. I have plenty of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2 would be good, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a couple would be good, and
All right.
thank you.
Okay,
I
you're
have to
welcome.
say, you know, during this time, we've had, here in the congregation, in fact, the meeting I was just having now with church was kind of a last-minute meeting. It was the re-entry team. We're not opening anytime soon. But we were talking just about a couple of requests. One was from a group of Boy Scouts that meets at the church who wanted to do something outside. And then the other one is just the pastor kind of thinking ahead, because we have, I think, three for sure, persons in the congregation that had an immediate family member pass away.
Right.
So one of them was, actually, he passed away in Florida. They're, you know, snowbirds. They spent half of the year over there and half of the year here. They're founding members of the church, and while they were there, he got sick, went hospitalized. Was hospitalized for a while. It was very difficult because she couldn't see him, she couldn't visit him at all, nothing, and she wasn't home. She was over there. So the family was all here. It was just very difficult for her. And then her husband, he did pass away after a number of weeks. So the family, thankfully, I guess the children who are all up here were able to go down and see him before he passed, and they did allow them to go in and see him. But it was very difficult, and so now they haven't been able to do anything, any kind of service or anything.
Right.
And then there's a couple more persons, one whose mother passed away, actually 2, I think, whose mother passed away, who again wanted to do something, and they had thought back when that happened, which was, I think they were all March, maybe April, but they were very close to each other, like within 3 weeks, I think, we had. There was one that was scheduled for that Friday where everything got shut down. And then the other 2 came out that next week. So they're all from, where was it, middle of March. So we're trying to think ahead of, you know, what, if to allow a small gathering, at the church and what the protocols will be and all that. Anyway, my thinking is, as I thought about that, and even thinking with Ethel and, with other people that are in the hospital or in difficult situations, it's just so hard right now because you can't see the people.
Yeah.
You can't have the regular visiting. You're worried. You know they're there, but you can't be there for them. We have someone who has a mother at a nursing facility, and at the beginning, she was able to bring little treats and stuff. Now, she couldn't bring anything else anymore. And for a while, they moved her mom to a room that was in a corner, so it had a window, so she would come to the outside and see her through the window.
Right.
But then they had to move her into another room because there were some cases in the nursing home. And she tested positive, didn't have didn't have any symptoms, but she was positive. So they basically just divided the nursing home then into the positive cases in certain rooms and then the non-positive in another. And it's just a whole situation when you think about it, it's so unreal,
Yeah, it is.
That having someone now, it's always really hard, but right now it's particularly difficult, it's so hard.
It's
hard
surreal.
to adjust, obviously.
It's surreal when you think about it.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, it is. I don't think about it too often, really. And I'm definitely not going crazy about it or anything like that. But when I do think about it, I was like, wow, this is really surreal. I could have imagined a virus or a pandemic, because it happened before. We were just fortunate that it was years and it didn't happen. And I think, at least from my point of view, I just feel like science has advanced so much that it wasn't something I was thinking about, really, because I figured, okay, we figured pretty much everything out, or most things, not cancer, not some other things, but we figured out enough that I would think a pandemic could be controlled. But this sort of pandemic is really strange.
Yeah.
It's very strange. How is the pool? Tell me how the pool is. How
Beautiful.
are they dealing? Do they have new rules? What's going on?
Yeah, well, they have some rules where you wear a mask if you go to the bathroom or something like that. But
otherwise,
otherwise, you don't wear masks in the water
problem in the water
or on the grass.
There's no really restricting of people in the water.
Or people.
You don't have to maintain social distancing. So
but
it's pretty relaxed. I was surprised.
Yeah.
At least, thank God, that was.
Yeah, when they opened up that, at least there was something.
But without that, I don't know what they expect people to do.
Yeah.
And if they think this is going to be the new normal, God help us, because I don't know.
Nobody can live like that.
Next year, how can you go on like this? Yeah. Businesses can't survive.
So are you really able to swim with the?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, with no mask.
Able to kind of sleep with the restrictions.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. No problem. You can sit on the grass without masks.
The only time you do wear it is when you go, when you first walk in, and then when you go to the bathroom or something.
Well, people do manage to sit apart from each other, but
not as much.
They have spots
like in yellow or something like that
on the grass, but nobody really strictly enforces it, and I'm glad for that. Yeah. And I think this is all, if you ask me, my personal opinion, this is all hysteria and paranoia. Because it's so out of control. The cases they talk about, the percentage of the death rate has gone down, it's declined. They're not even following the scientific data anymore. This is all about, I think, control.
They're just saying it's going up and up.
And they're just doing this on purpose to control people because they feel they have the power. And it's not right. I don't know how you feel, but that's the way I feel. And this guy Fauci keeps saying, oh, he's making it so terrible, like this is going to go on for years. He
didn't say that.
Who's going to wear a mask as a new normal for a year or more?
I couldn't live like that.
It's ridiculous. I don't know.
Yeah,
I hope I'm wrong.
I don't know. I don't have I've heard a lot of different people having a lot of different ideas. I really haven't made my mind into one thing or another. I'm basically just kind of looking around, seeing where we are, seeing where things are. I mean, thankfully, the 5 of us are healthy, so that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So
let me give you an example.
I mean, which doesn't mean that we couldn't get it, but it means that we have a little bit less of a concern or less of a chance.
Well, let me give you an example.
But yeah, I'm just kind of at the point. What I feel is like with I feel like there's so much different information that's being shared.
They change it every hour. It changes. There's no.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I'm not following all that specifics. Massachusetts has been pretty good about the way they report. Like at the beginning, it was a very basic reporting. Now you have a whole website. Well, it's not a website. I don't know whatever it is. I don't know what it's called. But it's a whole page where you have all kinds of different things, like all kinds of different information. So it's not just one statistic. It's a lot of different statistics.
Well, I
haven't gone in there for a while either. But, you know, I'm at the point where I think I am definitely not paranoid. I do keep the kids inside pretty much because what I feel is that I don't feel like I know enough because there's so many different things flying around. I don't feel like I know enough to really know how safe something is or not is. You know what I mean? Like somebody will say this, somebody will say that, somebody will say that. What that means to me is they just don't know.
Well,
you know, everybody's trying to figure something out, but they don't know for sure. You know, it's not like, okay, with you know, if you had yellow fever, this is what it costs, and this was, you know, and you know, at first you didn't know, but then you knew. With this, I feel like whether it is that the information wants to be mishandled or misunderstood, that's the intention, or whether it is that it's just too many different people looking at it and trying to examine it, or whether it is that they really don't know. I just feel like it's not consistent enough.
Well, think about
me to know what we're actually dealing with.
Think about it logically with the face masks. Face masks don't really do any good.
There's people
because if this is an airborne virus, face masks are not going to prevent it from getting into you, and breathing your own carbon dioxide is certainly not beneficial for your health, especially if you're physically active. So to me, face masks are useless. But I can understand the social distancing to a certain extent, but people, we have to live with one another. We've been living like this for thousands of years with viruses. We have to build up our immune system.
People got flu and everything else.
You can't just live your life in fear. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I know this is a special thing because it's something that hasn't occurred for over 100 years, but still, I think they're blowing it way out of proportion. I really do.
Yeah.
But I know we follow the guidelines. If we have to go to the store, you have to wear a mask.
We wear them in the store.
But thank God, if we go to ShopRite, we can go in the one entrance and come out the same entrance.
Walmart doesn't do that.
Now Walmart, you got to go in one entrance and come out the other entrance. So what is the basis of this? I don't understand this. And they're talking about all this crap, and yet they can have these rioters with no social distancing, doing all this destruction all over the country, and nobody says a word about this. This is what aggravates me. And they're worried about people going to school and children being
kids
together.
learning.
I mean, they have to open the schools again. They can't keep doing this.
Kids need to learn.
They're going to destroy this country completely if we don't wake up. That's the way I feel. I don't know. It's.
Yeah, I'm really not thinking, like I said, I'm not thinking too much or too far. You know, I'm just kind of looking at it. I think I would feel more comfortable having a specific idea or thought or whatever you want to call it, or a specific, you know, decision about what I thought if I saw more consistent information.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just don't. And so as long as there's no consistent information, for me that just means somebody doesn't know enough, you know.
It seems like everybody's stabbing in the dark,
and
you
it's
know.
clear, but
Yeah.
I don't see that being cleared.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
and you know, we're going about our lives pretty much, you know, in peace. We don't normally do a whole lot other than, I mean, with us still having things to do, you know, this provides us the time to. We have, you know, a few more projects in the house that need to be done. This provides us the time to just be inside and deal with those, you know, which is good. So it's not like we are looking for other things to do, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I feel very, very fortunate that we are in the house. I just keep thinking if we were in the, especially, you know, that first apartment we were at, where there was no place to go, no place to move, no place for the kids to play without everybody else feeling it. You know, not even conversations without your neighbor hearing you. It was that bad. I would have gone insane. I mean, that would have put me in a whole different set of mind. You know what I mean? So I do feel like I also come at it from my set of mind because I'm a very peaceful set of mind. You know, I have a huge yard where the kids can run. So I don't have the need to look for something else. You know what I mean? Like I'm not down to having to look for them to do something else. So I mean, in that way, I feel extremely fortunate. I think it's 100 times more difficult for someone who lives in an apartment building.
Yeah.
You know, someone who doesn't have any space in their house to go anywhere where there's no outlet. Because then you feel a lot more claustrophobic, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And you need some sort of entertainment, you know.
Right.
Our brains need some sort of distraction, and so in that way, I feel extremely, you know, just fortunate. You know?
I just wanted to mention, I was supposed to go back to work today after being out of work for 4 months to the auto dealership. I was called back after being laid off, and they couldn't open up because they had a power failure from the storm. So I don't know when I'll be going back. I guess maybe within days, I hope. But, you know, that's one of those things, you know.
So was it, I mean, was it bad enough that they still are not going to be able to open right away?
I don't know. I got a call from my boss. I was supposed to go in this morning to try going back to work for 3 days a week again, and I was supposed to start today. She called me last night and said, don't bother, the place is going to be closed because they have no power. So they had a lot of trouble in Bergen County with the power outages, the trees down and everything else. So I don't know what the status is going to be tomorrow. So
and
we'll see.
Did you say that some of them might not be out until Sunday, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, some places, even in Richfield Park, they won't have power till Sunday, so we were very fortunate.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
Yeah. Here, actually, I haven't even seen the news. I have been, like I mentioned to Michael in the, well, he hasn't read the message, so I've been just nonstop, because I was doing certain areas, just looking for things I needed to look at, so I was going to different people to do that. And then we have on Aldo's side, the extended family that live about half an hour away, and the great-grandma in that house is now bedridden. She was homebound for years, has been homebound for years, but now she's bedridden, like about how long has it been? I think it's been about 10 weeks.
wow.
She all of a sudden developed this pain in her back and couldn't walk. She's short. She's just a little shorter than me, but overweight. So it's hard to move her, hard to maneuver her. You know, she has diabetes, has had diabetes for many years. Blood pressure's all over the place. She developed this thing and then also had a loss of oxygen and her heart not doing well. So they are taking care of her at home, which is very hard. They have 3 children. They are 13, 11, and 8. So, you know, kids that need attention.
Right.
And then she has, so the one that's about my age, who has the 3 kids, she also has her mom, who is 65 now, and then her father-in-law, who is in his 70s. plus the great-grandma who's 89. So it's more than a handful. So a few weeks into it, I went to help them. And then try to help them. Then when she was really, really bad, there was one moment there where, they didn't know whether she was going to continue to live for long or not or whatever. So I went a couple of times a week for 2 or 3 weeks. And then I had a seminar that I had to do online. I had just a lot of work to start doing for church because there's a lot we haven't been able to do, and we're trying to figure out what to do. So I had to start a lot of that. So I didn't go for a couple of weeks, and the grandma thankfully kind of stabilized some more. But I went to them today because so last week I did go one day, and then this week I hadn't really planned it because, again, I've been very busy, and we had council meeting, and then this other meeting came up for today, and all of that. But I did go today. I finally went this afternoon for a little bit because they don't really get a break. But at least just having an extra set of hands. What happens now is not only is she bedridden, but she needs somebody with her all the time, or she gets like anxiety attacks.
Oh, wow.
So she's in the room next to the kitchen. They leave the door kind of half open, but even if you're in the kitchen, if you're not with her in her room, it won't be 10 minutes, and she'll start yelling and screaming for somebody, saying that she needs something. So then you ask her, what do you need? Oh, I don't know, I just don't feel well. Well, but how can I help you? I'm right next door, I'm right outside of the door. What do you need? But it's just, if she doesn't see the person there, then she'll go into that kind of panicky state. So it's extremely hard because they can't do anything unless they're inside of the room.
Right.
And obviously they don't want to be bringing into the room, like she doesn't want to bring her computer for all the stuff she has to do. She has to be making phone calls to the nurses, to the doctors, to all of this, because with this situation, obviously a lot has changed.
Right.
And it's just not readily available. So so at least when I go, like she'll try to make some more phone calls, or at least do them knowing that when she starts calling, I can go in,
Right.
And at least tell her, no, wait a minute, she's on a phone call, she'll be right back. She'll call me every 2 minutes to ask me again. But at least, again, she can stay on the phone, and I can do that, rather than her trying to be on the phone and just hearing somebody screaming, your name constantly. And her mom, the 65-year-old, helps a lot as well. But again, it's just draining because it is. Last night she said, they went to bed early. She thought it was going to be a good night. She called her 3 times during the night.
Oh, wow.
So they have more than a handful. So, I wish that I was able to help them more, but I have, so much right now. I'm trying to figure out how to do recordings from church, how to figure some new things out because, we're going to be at this for a while, and just trying to do that. It's just not having, I don't have time to spare. So I hope that I can go maybe once a week and just bring my stuff and try to help that way, if I can. But anyway, it's been nonstop. So I was saying, I had said to Michael in my little note, my note was short, but this is the long version. So yesterday was nonstop. I meant to call in the afternoon, and then I still didn't have stuff done. The meeting yesterday was the council meeting, and it was 7. I thought it was going to be, so he always aims for less than 2 hours, but it's always 2 hours or more. So yesterday I thought for sure it would be done, an hour and a half, because we didn't have a whole lot of new stuff, but people talked enough that it went over 2 hours again. So I didn't get done until after 9. And after that, I had to go pick something up from somebody. So it was just like, and then today again was nonstop, and I said I need to go help them because they really need. So so I did the couple of errands I had to do today, and then just went over there and spent a few hours and just helped them a little. But it's draining, and even she was saying right now, she needs to have I don't know if it's an MRI or if it's some sort of X-ray. So they're trying to do that for Sunday. That's when they could schedule it, whatever. They since she's been homebound, they actually need special transportation to get her out because she can't go up and down the stairs or any of that. Now, not only do they need a special transportation, they need to carry her to it.
Wow.
So, from when Aldo's dad was sick, they had a ramp at the house. They had made a ramp at the house where they lived then to be able to wheel him in and out. Because he ended up being between the hospital and the house, with the cancer, and he didn't have enough strength, so they would do that. That ramp, it's obviously not the same for this house because the stairs are different.
Right.
But they kind of maneuver and put it together enough to be able to get her wheelchair out. And then they usually have to have a couple of people helping. Anyway, that's one part of the ordeal. The other issue that she was telling me today, she was trying to make a phone call and trying to figure it out. They don't allow anybody into the room with her. So they have to now figure out how, like themselves. They have to tell the nurse what they need, but the nurse is saying no one can go into the MRI room with her. So the table where she would be put is very high. She is not strong enough to hold herself and do that. But the family members can go in. So they have to figure out how that would work and then tell the nurse what they need. I mean, it's insane. Because now they're like, okay, so she can't get it on her own. So they would need to get someone, because they're asking, is she going to need help walking to the table? Is she going to need help getting on the table? And it's like everything has turned into extra steps. Especially at the hospitals or any medical places because they already have to use so much equipment for safety.
Right.
So, yeah, I really feel for anyone that has anyone in a facility right now. It's just, it's quite a challenge, How are Al and Lorraine doing?
I don't know. I spoke to Al a while ago.
A while ago, he hasn't.
I guess things are about the same.
He told us the same about Lorraine the last time
I
we
don't
talked.
think anything's really improved, but that was about the status then.
He hasn't called us since.
So I haven't spoken to him in a while.
Yeah, no, I haven't, like I said, I haven't, and look at the time I'm calling you. I wouldn't call out right now. I just figured, I know that at least Michael tends to go to bed late, so I figured that was probably safe. But obviously I wouldn't call somebody if I didn't know,
Right.
I wouldn't be calling them, late. But, and again, during the day, I'm usually running around and I have a minute, then I'm just always doing something.
Well, you have to take care of yourself too, You can't be chasing around all the time.
I'm not, I have to say, it's not that, like, I am, I'm not, I'm sleeping okay, depends on the day. You know that I'm a late night worker. I'm not a morning person. So the good thing is Aldo is, so that kind of helps.
Okay.
Because he likes to wake up and make breakfast for the kids and do all that kind of stuff. Okay. So that helps there. That he's doing that. So he takes care of the morning stuff, which is great. And then for me, sometimes I go to bed way too late. Because again, my energy doesn't necessarily go out. And sometimes I'm tired, but I still can do things. So even last night, after I got back, I went to pick up what I needed to pick up. It was late already. The kids we've been rotating them and doing the dishes. So every day one of them does the dishes.
That's good.
And sometimes it's been a little, like they'll skip a day because of something, or sometimes I just kind of let them skip a day, that kind of thing, and so that they take a break if we've done too much or whatever. wait 1 second.
Sure.
But then anyway, so last night I got in, one of them had done the dishes, but there's always done that they leave, as normal with kids. So I got back. By the time, I mean, he was late. He was probably close to 11 by then.
Right.
By the time I got into the kitchen. By the time I finished whatever dishes needed to be done, I kind of, cleaned the sink, put things back, the stuff that was dry already, put it away so I could clean the stuff that wasn't, all that stuff. Kind of organized things a little. The kitchen floor was a mess. I, swept that up. We had, for the generator, we had to move the refrigerator in order to connect it to the generator. So what I had said is, let's not move the refrigerator back. I'll go ahead and move it all the way out and then clean under, because you never move the refrigerator. So I figured since it's already moved halfway,
Right.
Aldo had already gone off to work, but then Sophia and I moved it all the way out. It wasn't bad, which was good, but I did clean behind there, waited until it dried, put it back. I said, I'm going to go ahead and clean the entire floor. By the time I was done with that, it was after 1.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God.
Because everything takes time,
Yeah.
And again, I don't look at the time specifically because I kind of run on the motor after a certain time, even though I'm tired.
Yeah.
So, of course, it doesn't happen the next morning because then I wake up like, oh.
Yeah, you want to...
But yeah, in general, I've been trying, I haven't really been over pushing myself. Like, that has always been very easy for me to do. But I do notice as I get older, that it's not as easy.
Right. I find that out.
I feel more tired. Right. Yeah, I do feel more. I can do certain things, but I do feel more tired, than I did before. So that I'm trying to watch. But I just, especially right now, I'm just living on thankfulness every day. Just thankful that we're healthy. Again, thankful that we can look out the window and there's birds and trees and stuff. And I am really not taking anything for granted.
Right.
I've become really, really aware of that, of how important it is, because, so much can just not be there, or not be available.
Right.
And now, in terms of the family, as my mom is gone, my grandma's gone. Obviously, my dad was gone for a long time. My uncle passed away not that long ago. So every time someone passes, I just kind of become more and more aware, of time and people and just mortality, and so that's been a real source of encouragement and strength, and just nurturing the faith is just being really, really not taking things for granted, just really being thankful for waking up and feeling fine, and or having a good day, or having gorgeous weather, just I've really kind of gravitated to using that as a source of encouragement, Yeah, especially now. I think there's just so much that it's like bad news, and
all we have to remember is that God is in control.
Yeah, and people are just in a... I don't think everyone is, but I think because of all the pressures and the concerns, and like you're saying, some people are just paranoid, and anyone that has nervous issues is going crazy right now.
Yeah.
And so that just kind of, I feel like that just kind of ups the pressure in the spiritual realm, of people. It's like people are really tense, and people, I don't know how it is over there, but over here, people to begin with drive like lunatics. In part, I think because of, like I said, the roads are not made for cars. That's number one.
Right.
So it's, at first, I cannot even tell you how many highways you go into, and all of a sudden your lane ends. There's no markings anywhere.
Wow.
Like, it doesn't happen so much in the left lane, but the right lane, very often. And unless you've lived here for 10 years, and now you know where this happens, you have no clue. You just get off the highway, and you get on the highway, and all of a sudden your lane is gone. And there was absolutely no marking anywhere. And then when you're going to turn, it's funny, but it's weird. Then you're going to go into some exit, right?
Right.
It's the strangest thing. You'll have, like, you're going on the highway, and, there's, like, 3 lanes on the highway. And then you'll have this kind of additional lane that appears for you to go into the exit.
Right.
So you would think, and it says exit only on that lane. Well, that lane and the lane you're on, and that first right lane, actually are both an exit in many exits.
Okay.
But if you're on the left one on there, that will take you to a different highway than the right one. So if you have no idea about that, you'll get on that right lane thinking, okay, exit only, because the other one doesn't say exit only. You can also keep going, but it's also an exit. So you'll get on that right lane, and there's one spot that no matter how many times I did it, it's coming back from Boston, I did it every time. And I was like, shoot, here we go again. I would go into that right lane thinking, exit only, this is where I have to get off.
Yeah.
And, I mean, a block distance, 2 block distance, I would have to get back into that left lane because otherwise I was going into another exit.
Wow.
And then, of course, you have people driving crazy,
Right.
fast. You can't get back on there. I mean, it's just... so, all that is to say, the traffic in itself here is, every place has kind of its things that make, that add, stress to people or whatever. Traffic is kind of one here, which actually has been much better since the pandemic started because there's less cars on the road.
Right.
Regardless, it's kind of a cause of tension. It was a cause of tension to begin with. What happened when people saw this open roads with not as many cars, they are driving like 90 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like when you go places, I don't watch news, but those that do, I know there's a lot of stress over there. Then you go out on the road, there's a lot of stress in the driving. Then you go out to the store, and then there's a lot of stress there, and it's just like there's no escape,
Right.
Yeah.
There's just no escape from that kind of communal stress. Wherever it's coming from, you end up in a situation where you have no ground, You're just constantly bombarded with other people's stress. So for me, I've just found that, again, just being, not taking anything for grounded, for granted, and just being thankful every day, and just kind of looking at the good.
Yep.
Right.
I think it's really helped me. Like, I don't feel, I mean, I do have stresses, obviously, and right now, trying to figure out technology to make this church stuff happen is crazy. But I just feel like I'm more at peace, But I feel like it takes work,
Yeah.
Like, you have to find your own, whether it is, like, if you're going to the pool, which is something you've always done, and
Right.
like you guys do, and that's kind of like a source of, normalcy there, or whether it is, adding something you didn't do before, or something. I feel like we all kind of need something to just kind of keep saying, it's all right, and whatever this craziness is, we'll get through it, and,
Right.
yeah, it's quite an interesting time to live, I think.
Yep. It's the only time we
An
have.
experience. Yeah. How's the rest of your family, and Michael? How are your friends?
Oh, they're
Have you
good.
seen them at all? Do you know how they're doing?
No, well, he's fine.
Well,
They're
my
all
brother's
fine.
doing good. He's doing good in Florida.
My cousins are fine in Oregon, so they're
But,
hanging in there.
But as it is with my side of the family, most of them are gone now. I don't even know who's left anymore, and we don't have much contact with them anymore. I have one cousin in Levittown, Long Island. I was trying to get a hold of her, but I never got an answer.
I have a cousin in Jersey that's in Tom's River that's fine, and his daughter, actually, her 2 kids a while ago had the virus, and they beat it, so they're fine now. And she had a second child, and the baby had it too. So it was scary, but they're okay now. So she sends pictures of them with videos and stuff like that.
But it's just one day at a time. That's all we can do.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. That's it. It's one day at a time. So now I guess, so then for you, Larry, you're just waiting to see what happens with work then?
Yeah, I should be hearing from my boss, I guess, within the next few days. I mean, whenever they get the power back on, maybe it might be next week I might start on my shift again. But as I said, it's been 4 months since I worked. So if I don't go back to work, I'm going to be, I mean, I can feel the stress from, you know, just sitting around all the time and not doing much of anything.
We do a lot of stuff.
But we are eating better than we ever had because we're eating at home now.
Wow.
Yeah, we're not eating fast food.
We don't eat fast foods much anymore. We eat at home. Michael does the cooking, and I help too, and so we're eating healthier than we ever have. So, but the thing is, I need the exercise that I was getting going up and down.
You can always
the stairs.
walk again. Go back to walking.
So we'll see how that works out.
I have to say I am not good with exercise. I have never been.
Me either.
At this point, I'm not even making, you know.
No, I couldn't even do it.
In my life, I'd be like, I'm going to make this a goal. I'm not even doing that now. It's like, not right now. But that's good. How is the neighborhood? Has your neighborhood have a lot of... I felt like when we went to New Jersey, there was a lot of shift in there. Like, you know, the little corner store that had been there forever, you know, got sold, and there were new owners. The other stores in the corner did too. It felt like there was a lot of shifts.
Well, Ridgefield Park hasn't really changed much.
We got a new
We
mayor
have a
now.
new mayor now, but with the virus, we don't know what's going to happen in the fall. But
right now, we didn't have a 4th of July parade like normally.
Things are about what you would expect, I guess, during a pandemic.
But
other than that, nothing really changed much.
Yeah.
You know, still basically a village. You know.
Yeah.
Just think about the same.
Yeah. Pretty
about
much
the same. Yeah.
That's good. That's good because it keeps us kind of stable, you know?
Yeah. And things are pretty quiet.
And the house, anything new in the house or anything you've had to deal with other than, you know, fallen trees?
No, fortunately, as I said, God was good to us this time. I had no shingles come off,
so we were
and I just had a few branches that he pruned, but no major damage or anything, so it's just a little cleanup.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I have that massive red maple tree in the front, and a
Other
spruce
than
tree, and a hemlock tree in the back. There was nothing.
Anything other than changing in Union City, well...
We don't even go to Union City much
The minister that was there went to somewhere else.
Well, Manolo Sardinas is the minister now in Emmanuel.
Didn't he just retire?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, right.
But he was appointed as the minister.
And Pastor Esther went.
Esther went to Linden,
where she lives.
The church in Linden.
So they got a new pastor now. I don't know who it is.
And Pastor Miaris went down to Perth Amboy.
Yep.
So.
Who's this?
Pastor Mara.
Cesar Miaris. He went to Perth Amboy.
Yeah.
Well, that I did know.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know that Manolo had been appointed there. I just thought he was just...
Yeah, in fact, I think he's also appointed to the Weehawken Church.
I don't think so.
Yes, I think
really?
he's got both.
Oh, wow.
Because that's what Pastor Esther had.
Yeah, I know she did.
She had Emmanuel and Weehawken.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know. I think if I read it correctly, he was...
I didn't even know he was supposed to retire.
Well,
I knew about the retirement because they put it up on Facebook.
Oh.
And so I didn't look. I don't know if they streamed it or what or not. I just saw the announcement, you know. That, and I still receive the stuff from New Jersey. And,
yeah, I do too.
Right.
And from the conference, and the bishop had put it. So that's how I, that's how I know that was that he was retiring. But yeah, I haven't been in touch with any of the pastors, and of course we haven't been there in forever.
A year.
Well, a year.
Since last year.
When we drove by.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess last year.
Yeah, last year, because we went to, to the...
we went to the Weehawken Church.
Weehawken Church.
Yeah. That's been it. So,
Yeah.
So that was that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how everything, develops, and also just how this situation affects all the churches, because this is also a whole different ballgame. You know, some churches are doing okay, but others are really struggling because,
like anything, it's like the businesses too. I mean, if they don't do something quickly, some might never reopen.
Like a place that we've gone to for years in Hackensack recently had to give up his business because the property bought up his restaurant. Yeah, so...
Used to be the Heritage Restaurant, Diner Restaurant in Hackensack on River Street.
And we were going there since we moved here.
And the place was, I guess they offered him a good price for the property because they're building condos or something there.
But he owns 2 restaurants.
But he has another diner on Route 17, Suburban Diner, so we want to try that
We want to try that when they start indoor dining.
Well, we went to the Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah, outdoor dining.
Outdoor dining a few weeks ago. That was good. That was the first steak we had in about 4 months.
Yeah, it was
so
good.
I could really say it was good, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's good. That's good. We haven't been really hitting out with cooking, and the kids have been trying to teach them, basics of cooking stuff and things like that.
That's good.
But yeah, like I said, we actually have stayed pretty busy. We're busy, so when we're not doing one thing, then we're doing another. I have now some paperwork to do for what is it? For the conversations with the Diaz before annual conference and all of that.
Right.
So I have to working on that, and want to be done tomorrow.
Okay.
And so I'm working on that, and again, when I'm not doing some sort of that, then I had to figure out, some of this music stuff that we're trying to deal with at church. There's always something. I mean, really, we have been busy. Like, people are like, oh, I've had all this time to do this, and then I'm like, no, we haven't. We've just been busy. We have plenty to do, which is probably not a bad thing,
Well, we better let you go then, because you got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one thing or another, but it's so great to talk to you, and I'm sorry for calling late. I just figured
That's fine.
Tomorrow then starts getting complicated and this and that, and I said I didn't want to miss talking, but I'm glad that you both are doing well. I'm glad that you're eating healthy.
Yeah, we are.
and taking care of yourselves that way. And
yeah, you take care too as well.
Yep.
For you both and for the family.
Yep.
Okay.
And give them a hug and kiss for me.
I will.
Okay.
You have a good night.
All right. Good night.
Okay.
Bye.
Good night. Talk about the great
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Everything is The great
incentives of the welfare state, or our traditional system of
we were on the phone almost an hour.
individual freedom is incapable of solving the complex problems.
I realize
Look at this video.
Senator Fulbright has said at Stanford University that the Constitution is outmoded. He referred to the president as our moral teacher and our leader. And he says he is humbled in his task by the restrictions of power imposed on him by this antiquated document. He must be freed so that he can do for us what he knows is best. And Senator Clark of Pennsylvania, another articulate spokesman, defines liberalism.
You know what I heard? Did you hear what she said?
What?
Projects in the House. What is she doing? Are they doing the same thing they did here?
No. Probably mostly just doing, probably just mostly recent stuff, you know.
I'll have to get those two obituary cards
This was the very thing the Founding Fathers sought to minimize. They knew that governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people. And they know when a government sets out to do that, it must use force and coercion to achieve its purpose. They also knew, those Founding Fathers, that outside of its legitimate function, government does nothing as well or as economically as the private sector of the economy. So now we declare war on poverty, or you too can be a Bobby Baker. Now, do they honestly expect us to believe that if we add $1 billion to the $45 billion we're spending, one more program to the 30-odd we have, and remember, this new program doesn't replace any, it just duplicates existing programs. Do they believe that poverty is suddenly going to disappear by magic? Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything. Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant, it's just that they know so much that isn't so. Now, we're for a provision that destitution should not follow unemployment by reason of old age. To that end, we've accepted Social Security as a step toward meeting the problem. But we're against those entrusted with this program when they practice deception regarding its fiscal shortcomings, when they charge that any criticism of the program means that we want to end payments to those people who depend on them for a livelihood. They've called it insurance to us in 100 million pieces of literature. Then they appeared before the Supreme Court, and they justified it with a welfare program. They only used the term insurance to sell it to the people. And they said Social Security dues are a tax for the general use of the government. And the government has used that tax. There is no fund. Because Robert Byers, the actuarial head, appeared before a congressional committee and admitted that Social Security as of this moment is $298 billion in the hole. But he said there should be no cause for worry, because as long as they have the power to tax, they could always take away from the people whatever they needed to bail them out of debt. And that is the issue of this campaign that makes all the other problems I've discussed academic, unless we realize we're in a war that must be won. Those who would trade our freedom for the soup kitchen of the welfare state have told us they have a utopian solution, peace without victory. They call that policy accommodation. And they say if we'll only avoid any direct confrontation with the enemy, he'll forget his evil ways and learn to love us. All who oppose them are indicted as warmongers. They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Yes, there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple. If you and I have the courage to tell our elected officials that we want our national policy based on what we know in our hearts is morally right, we cannot buy our security, our freedom from the threat of the bomb.
There's no left or right. It's
by
only
committing
up
an
or down.
immorality so great as saying to 1 billion human beings now enslaved behind the Iron Curtain, give up your dreams of freedom, because to save our own skins, we're willing to make a deal with your slave masters. Alexander Hamilton said a nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserts him. Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second. Surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives no choice between peace and war, only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? Well, Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have weakened He believes this because from our side he's heard voices screaming at any price, or better red than death. But one commentator says he'd rather live on his knees than die in his knees. Therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak. You and I know do not believe that life is so different and peace so sweet. Nothing in life is good, John. When did this begin? Just in the face of this or supposed slavery under Pharaoh. Despite the reduced cross, the patriots conquered Britain and thrown down their guns and refused to fire shots around the world. The martyrs of history were not. And our honored dead gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis. Didn't die in vain. They used the road to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance.
Why do I care about the waterfront here?
Who was doing that? Oh. Oh, yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Sure. You fucking did hit it. You good?
Yeah. Let's get out of here. Hey.
Oh, gonna miss that one.
Where are you going? Hey.
Good for Herschel Walker, former NFL for American lineman. Slams black athletes
Oh, wow.
BLM. Good for him.
Ooh.
And he's black.
Sport clear.
Tight right there, huh?
Right off to a little blow around this part.
Yeah. Jesse and Dean are gonna lose their shit when they hear about this.
Let's do it anyway. Dang, right?
Not enough. Why?
Marty Jannetty claims to have killed the man?
What?
Marty Jannetty
Oh,
claims to have killed a man in a disturbing post
I have no clue.
back in 1973.
Oh. Why the hell would that even matter now? Guy's friggin' old. God's sake, he was in wrestling with Shawn Michaels when he was young. So why is it that it's only coming up now?
Yeah, I'd like.
Yeah,
to
right.
know
Yeah. Where the hell were you the whole fucking time, you
where does
pieces
this
of
stuff
shit?
come from?
Yeah, I like to know. I mean, why the hell are you gonna do why the hell would you prosecute a man now? That's so stupid. Let's just say people are idiotic.
Ooh, Polish-style taco with pierogi, taco shell stuffed with sauerkraut and kielbasa, topped
Oh,
with
wow.
onions and bacon.
No. Sounds good.
Think you can squeeze through there?
Yep.
See what it is?
This. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
Okay.
Let me see what that message was.
Student tried to use Donald Trump for a personal hero project. Teacher says she can't. Yeah, because they're fucking liberals, that's why.
Nelly!
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Joel. I think it's them. A couple of them last year.
Oh, yeah. Here's where she said it.
I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson is a wonderful place, but we got tired of hearing the stories of people suffering everywhere else. We wanted to save lives. We had good intentions. We didn't make it an hour before running in the report. Now we're bitten. We decided we're going to end our lives before turning. We started family and friends that were sorry. Adam and Sydney. We shot her. I can't take my own life. I'm a coward. Adam.
It's enough for one night. Oh yeah, tomorrow I think I gotta go on 2:30 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
Go get Tom.
That's how it is.
Jackson.
After he took me out of the Firefly Hospital.
No, Friday I think is 2:30.
You better check before you go off then.
You said that it doesn't show people like me.
Yeah. That's what I told him.
See if I got a
I've
message
never met
from
another
Lisa.
person before.
I don't think I'll be going into work tomorrow.
No, Fridays you're off, Don. You'll go until next Thursday now,
You do.
if you do.
Do you
We're
believe
gonna
that?
quit after this. Normally we would have gone on to do my next thing. I would have done wedding date, going to the hospital. But we will do that tomorrow or
Across the entire
the next day, because I was talking to
I had so many questions for them.
my girlfriend's mom, so
Why did you
we were all
pull me out
doing
of there while
good.
I
So
was
my
still
girlfriend's
unconscious?
mom, so she was talking to us for a long time. So yeah, so I will be on tomorrow.
How do you know you're useless? Maybe if you just
But I don't know
one
if I'll be
more time,
playing
you'll
this
figure something
tomorrow.
out.
But or I'll probably play the next day. I don't know. I might play this tomorrow still. I don't know. We'll have to see. But if we do, I will be continuing on with wedding date tomorrow. But right now, I'll be going off. So late now. Normally it's like 10:12 right now. So we will be on tomorrow after lunch, you know. So we'll probably we'll probably be on after lunch, and we'll play probably some more Last of Us. Yeah, tomorrow Last of Us after lunch, about around sometime after 12 sometimes. Mostly about 12, yeah, about 12. Because I eat lunch about 11:30, so 12 o'clock. So even though I didn't play it, but thank you for watching, and like I said, I'm sorry I didn't go on more, but my girlfriend's mom called, so this was important. So, but this is where I'll be next time I play. So, yeah. We'll be going to the hospital next.
Hey, let me do that. He's a good guy. Why didn't you tell him? Wasn't tired. There you go. What about this? Anything worthwhile? Actually, Abby? No. This girl, Nora, her unit was assigned to this hospital. They were collecting supplies or something. This hospital? Yeah. What, you're gonna go now? We have a lead. At least just wait for Jessie to start. She could be gone by then. Hell yeah. We know her location. Maybe Tommy does too. What? Nothing.
Someone open the door for me.
Can you come over and open the door, please?
Okay, so like I said, this is where we'll be tomorrow, about 12 o'clock. We will continue, and we'll be going to Highway 5 and stuff like that. So I appreciate what you did, and we will be going to Highway 5. So until next time, bye-bye. Good night, everyone.